the air around you, thick with the scent of a promise broken before it was ever truly made. You look into his eyes, believing you see devotion, a future, a profound connection, but beneath that placid surface, a clandestine architect is at work, meticulously drafting blueprints for his own dominion, his own comfort, his own silent triumph. Every tender word, every gentle touch, every declaration of undying affection, a carefully constructed facade, a theatrical performance designed to obscure the stark, chilling truth. He is pretending to love you, and always, always, he is secretly planning his own benefit. Welcome to PsychHer, where we dissect the darkest corners of human nature, peeling back the layers of deception to expose the raw, uncomfortable truths that society often conspires to keep hidden. Tonight, we plunge into an abyss many refuse to acknowledge, a fundamental blueprint of male behavior that, once understood, will forever alter how you perceive the relationships you hold dear. Stay with us until the very end, for the insights we are about to unveil will not merely shock you, they will arm you with a devastating clarity. From the dawn of human existence, the narrative woven around male-female relationships has been one of romantic idealism, of two souls intertwining in an almost ethereal dance of mutual affection and shared destiny. Yet beneath this gilded tapestry of societal expectation and cultural conditioning lies a truth far more primal, far more calculating, and infinitely more unsettling. We are compelled to confront the stark reality that for many men, the intricate ritual of courtship, the passionate declarations, the carefully cultivated intimacy are not merely expressions of profound emotional attachment, but sophisticated strategies in an ancient, often subconscious, game of acquisition and optimization. This isn't to diminish the genuine capacity for love that exists within individuals, but rather to unmask the pervasive undercurrent of self-interest that almost invariably colours and directs male interaction within romantic and committed partnerships. The human male, in his essence, is a creature wired for advantage, an intricate mechanism honed by millennia of evolutionary pressures to secure resources, status, and reproductive opportunity. In the modern context, while the overt forms of, these needs may have transformed, the underlying drive persists, subtly manifesting as a persistent calculus of personal gain within the very fabric of ostensibly loving relationships. Consider the evolutionary imperative that shaped the male psyche. Historically, a man's survival and reproductive success were intrinsically linked to his ability to secure a partner who could contribute to the stability of his lineage, provide domestic support, and ensure the propagation of his genes. This is not a quaint historical footnote. It is a fundamental bedrock upon which contemporary male psychology, however refined by societal norms, continues to operate. While modern men may not be actively hunting mammoths, the impulse to provide and protect still carries significant weight, albeit recontextualized into financial stability, emotional resilience, and social standing. The love he expresses, therefore, can often serve as the most potent, most persuasive tool in his arsenal to secure a partner who will fulfill these deep-seated, often unconscious needs. He isn't necessarily a villain in this narrative, but rather a protagonist in his own ancient story, where the woman he loves plays a pivotal, albeit often unacknowledged role in his personal and genetic success. The concept of love, in this light, transforms from a purely altruistic emotion into a highly effective behavioral strategy, a means to an end where the end is always, fundamentally, his own advancement and well-being. The intricate dances of affection, the heartfelt confessions, the shared vulnerabilities, these become the refined instruments through which he navigates the complex social landscape to ensure his position, his comfort, his legacy. The carefully constructed mask of empathy, the performance of deep emotional connection, is perhaps one of the most masterful deceptions in this intricate play. Men are often socialized to understand the cues of emotional intelligence without necessarily internalizing the genuine feeling. They learn to mirror expressions, to offer comforting words, to engage in active listening, not always from a place of profound inner resonance, but because these behaviors are demonstrably effective in eliciting affection, trust, and reciprocity from their partners. It's a sophisticated form of mimicry, a finely tuned echo of what they perceive to be genuine emotional engagement. You might believe you are witnessing profound understanding when he nods empathetically, when he validates your feelings with precisely the right words, when he offers solace in your distress. But what if this isn't the outflow of a shared emotional landscape, but rather a meticulously rehearsed response, a strategy deployed to deepen your attachment and secure your reliance? This isn't to say that men are incapable of empathy, but rather to highlight that the display of empathy can be detached from its true internal experience, becoming a highly effective social tool. The goal is to cultivate a bond that serves his underlying agenda, whatever that may be. The more deeply you believe he understands and cares, the more invested you become, and the more likely you are to contribute to his overall well-being. This subtle, almost imperceptible calibration of emotional performance ensures that his needs are met, often without either party fully recognizing the transactional undercurrent that flows beneath the surface. It's a masterful act of psychological engineering, where the illusion of deep connection facilitates the quiet accumulation of personal advantage. When we delve into the specific benefits men seek, the landscape expands far beyond the simplistic and often misunderstood notion of purely sexual gratification. While sexual access is certainly a component, it is often intertwined with, and sometimes overshadowed by, a broader spectrum of tangible and intangible gains. Consider the domestic comforts: a stable home environment, regular meals, laundry, the meticulous organisation of a household. These are invaluable resources that often fall disproportionately on the female partner. The love, he professes, can be the key to unlocking a life of greater ease and reduced responsibility, freeing up his mental and physical energy for other pursuits he deems more important. Then there is the profound emotional labour you unwittingly provide. The constant validation of his ego, the unwavering support through his challenges, the patient listening to his frustrations, the tireless affirmation of his self-worth. This emotional sustenance is a potent, often invisible resource that fuels his confidence and provides a buffer against the harsh realities of the world. He finds solace in your presence, a soft landing from the demands of his life, and this comfort is not a byproduct of love, it is often a primary motivation for cultivating that love. Beyond the domestic and emotional, there are also significant social benefits. A man with a stable, attractive, and seemingly devoted partner often gains considerable social standing. He is perceived as responsible, successful, and desirable by his peers and by society at large. Your presence, your commitment, your very existence by his side can elevate his status, providing a social currency that he subtly leverages in his professional and personal spheres. You become, in essence, a reflection of his perceived success, a tangible symbol of his ability to secure a desirable partner. This isn't always a conscious, malicious calculation. Often, it is an ingrained, almost instinctual understanding of how the world works, how his own perceived value is enhanced by your presence. The depth of your emotional connection, the strength of your commitment, becomes the foundation upon which these benefits are built. It is a subtle and often insidious form of transactional interaction, where your authentic emotional investment becomes the fuel for his personal engine, an engine often disguised by the very affection he shows you. This complex interplay of domestic ease, emotional sustenance, and social validation paints a far more nuanced, and frankly, more unsettling picture of the male psyche in relationships than the romanticized narratives we are typically offered. The art of manipulation within these dynamics is rarely overt or malicious in a theatrical sense. It is often a subtle, almost imperceptible series of maneuvers designed to secure and maintain his advantageous position. This is where gaslighting, in its most insidious forms, enters the arena not as a weapon of deliberate cruelty, but as a tool to maintain control and avoid accountability, thereby preserving his established benefits. He might subtly dismiss your concerns, reinterpret past events to suit his narrative, or make you doubt your own perceptions, all under the guise of trying to understand you or help you. This isn't always about making you feel crazy, but about ensuring that your perspective doesn't challenge his established comfort or expose his underlying self-interest. He wants to maintain the illusion of being the benevolent, loving partner, and any crack in that facade must be swiftly sealed, often by subtly shifting the blame or responsibility onto you. Consider also the tactic of strategic love bombing, particularly in the early stages. This isn't just an outpouring of genuine emotion. It can be a meticulous investment, a calculated expenditure of affection and attention, designed to rapidly forge a deep emotional bond. Once you are thoroughly enamored, thoroughly dependent, and thoroughly trusting, the initial intensity may wane, replaced by a more normal level of attention, a level that is often just enough to keep you engaged while he reaps the benefits of your established devotion. The erosion of your boundaries, a slow and almost imperceptible process, often occurs under the benevolent banner of love and closeness. He might subtly push for more of your time, more of your energy, more of your resources, framing it as a natural evolution of your deep connection, a testament to your shared future. Your hesitation or resistance might be gently but firmly reframed as a lack of commitment, a sign of your emotional unavailability, or even a challenge to the depth of his feelings for you. In this way, he can expand his territory, gaining more access to your life, your resources, your emotional labour, all while making you feel that you are willingly, even eagerly, participating in this expansion for the sake of your relationship. It's a masterful psychological gambit, where your own desire for connection is turned into a lever against you, ensuring that you continue to provide the benefits he seeks without ever questioning the transactional nature of the exchange. He isn't necessarily a Machiavellian mastermind, but rather an instinctively strategic player in the game of human relationships, often leveraging the very concept of love as his most effective tool for gaining and maintaining advantage. The subtle shifts in power, the quiet redirection of responsibility, the gentle nudges towards his preferred outcomes, these are the hallmarks of a man subtly shaping his world to his own benefit, all while wrapped in the comforting cloak of affection. Relationships, when stripped of their romantic veneer, often reveal themselves as a constant, subtle negotiation of power, a dance where one partner is almost always seeking to optimize their position. For many men, this translates into a nuanced game that involves strategic withdrawal and a careful calibration of affection to maintain an advantageous balance. Have you ever noticed how, after a period of intense closeness and emotional investment, there might be a subtle pullback, a slight cooling of his ardour? This isn't always a sign of waning interest. It can be a deliberate, though often unconscious tactic to reassert control, to create a sense of scarcity, and to prompt you to increase your own efforts to re-engage him. When affection becomes less readily available, it paradoxically becomes more desirable, more sought after. This psychological principle is exploited to ensure that you remain actively invested, continuously seeking his approval and working to maintain his interest, thereby reaffirming your commitment to providing the benefits he has grown accustomed to. The fear of loss, even a temporary one, becomes a powerful motivator, driving you to expend more emotional energy, more time, more resources, all to restore the perceived equilibrium of the relationship. This dynamic is further exacerbated by the pervasive backup plan mentality that, whether acknowledged or not, often resides within the male psyche. Even in ostensibly committed relationships, a subtle, almost imperceptible vigilance for other options can persist. This isn't necessarily about actively seeking out other partners, but rather about maintaining a subconscious awareness of his own market value, his desirability, and the potential alternatives available to him should the current arrangement cease to serve his interests optimally. This hidden calculus allows him a degree of detachment, a quiet resilience, that women often lack due to their greater emotional investment. Your commitment, your emotional vulnerability, your deep connection, these are precisely what he relies upon to secure his benefits, knowing that your potential for withdrawal is often significantly lower than his. He can afford to be less emotionally dependent because his self-worth and his long-term planning are often less intrinsically tied to the success of a single relationship. This strategic emotional distance allows him to maneuver, to pull back, to recalibrate, ensuring that the relationship continues to serve his evolving needs without him ever having to fully relinquish the sense of personal autonomy or the possibility of a more advantageous future. It's a chilling reality, one where the emotional equilibrium is perpetually tilted in his favour, maintained by your fear of loss and his subtle yet unwavering quest for personal optimization, the uncomfortable truth, the one that society desperately tries to obscure with its romantic narratives and idealized visions of partnership, is that for many men, love is not an ultimate destination, but a sophisticated vehicle, a highly effective means to a more fundamental end, personal gain, comfort, and the advancement of their own individual well-being. This perspective doesn't deny the existence of genuine affection or even deep fondness, but it recontextualizes it within a framework of inherent self-interest that is far more prevalent and pervasive than we are conditioned to believe. The love he expresses, the future he paints with you, the tenderness he shows, these are often the exquisite trappings, the beautiful facade that legitimizes and facilitates the acquisition of tangible and intangible benefits that serve him. This isn't a cynical take on humanity, but a stark psychological reality, deeply rooted in evolutionary biology and reinforced by societal structures that often reward male strategic thinking. Women are taught to seek love as an end in itself, a complete and fulfilling state of being, while men, often unconsciously, are wired to view relationships as components within a larger strategy for their own life optimization. This fundamental divergence in perspective is where the profound psychological disconnect often occurs. You enter a relationship seeking pure connection, shared intimacy, and unconditional love. He enters it often unconsciously, seeking companionship, emotional support, domestic comfort, sexual gratification, social validation, and a partner who will contribute to his overall sense of success and well-being. The beautiful irony, and the tragic deception, lies in the fact that the most effective way for him to secure these benefits is to convince you that he loves you purely, selflessly, and unconditionally. Your belief in his selfless devotion is the very mechanism that unlocks the vast array of benefits he seeks. It is the perfect strategic maneuver, cloaking self-interest in the most universally desired and powerful human emotion. This revelation is often difficult for women to accept because it challenges the very foundation of their romantic conditioning, forcing a re-evaluation of every tender word, every shared moment, every promise made under the moonlit sky. It forces one to confront the possibility that what felt like profound connection was, at its core, a carefully managed transaction, where your emotional investment was the primary currency. The discomfort of this truth is immense, but the clarity it offers is equally profound, for it allows you to see the hidden face, the calculating mind, that has been operating beneath the surface all along, skillfully navigating the complex currents of human interaction for its own benefit. To truly grasp the depths of this strategic masquerade, one must attempt to deconstruct the inner monologue that operates within the male mindset, often running parallel to, or even beneath, the conscious expressions of affection. It is not necessarily a villainous soliloquy of malicious intent, but rather a pragmatic, problem-solving narrative focused on self-preservation and personal optimization. He might genuinely feel affection, a sense of belonging, and even a form of attachment, but these emotions are often compartmentalized, held in check by an overarching subconscious algorithm that is constantly evaluating the return on investment of the relationship. He rationalizes his actions, convincing himself and crucially convincing you that he does love, because from his perspective, he is providing a form of love that yields desirable outcomes for him. The emotional support you provide, the domestic harmony you foster, the sexual intimacy you share, the social graces you extend, these are not merely pleasant aspects of a partnership. They are vital contributions to his life, and he subconsciously, or consciously, understands that maintaining the illusion of deep, selfless love is the most effective way to ensure their continued flow. The societal pressures on men to win, to succeed, to provide, and to establish a stable life reinforce this strategic mindset. A man who appears settled, with a loving partner and a comfortable home life, is often seen as more successful, more mature, and more reliable. Your presence validates his ability to achieve these societal benchmarks, further bolstering his ego and his position in the social hierarchy. He sees you not just as a person, but as a critical element within his personal infrastructure, a vital support system that enables him to pursue his goals with greater ease and confidence. This doesn't mean he doesn't value you, but that his valuation is often tethered to the benefits you provide to his overall life trajectory. He might genuinely feel a desire to protect and care for you, but this desire is often intrinsically linked to the protection and care of his own established comfort and the benefits he derives from the relationship. The profound, often unsettling revelation is that the internal narrative, the quiet calculus happening in his mind, is almost perpetually geared towards optimizing his own experience, his own future, his own dominion, and your love becomes a powerful, almost irresistible, catalyst in that deeply personal journey. His hidden face is not necessarily ugly, but it is perpetually self-serving, a silent strategist beneath the guise of affection, the final, chilling revelation. The ultimate hidden truth that shatters the romantic illusion is that the love offered to you by many men is often conditional, a finely tuned transaction where your emotional investment is the primary currency. This is not to say that all expressions of affection are devoid of genuine warmth, but rather that even that warmth is often interwoven with, and ultimately directed by, a profound, almost instinctual calculus of personal benefit. You have been living under the benevolent shadow of a strategic alliance, where your role, however cherished, is to contribute to his overall sense of well-being, his comfort, his social standing, and his personal goals. The hidden face is not a monster lurking in the shadows. It is a meticulously calculating entity, driven by ancient programming and modern ambition, a master of emotional performance, adept at cloaking self-interest in the most beautiful garments of devotion. This truth is perhaps the most difficult to bear, for it implies a profound loneliness in the heart of many relationships, a fundamental asymmetry, where one party is often operating under a romantic ideal while the other is subtly, perhaps even unconsciously, engaging in a lifelong negotiation of personal advantage. The love you perceive, the love you yearn for, is not necessarily a pure altruistic state of being, but a carefully constructed means to an end. It is a powerful, effective, and often beautiful tool designed to secure your unwavering commitment, ensuring the steady flow of benefits he seeks. The ultimate responsibility, then, falls squarely upon you, to peer beyond the performance, to decode the underlying calculus, and to finally see the world and the men within it, with a devastating yet empowering clarity. Do not be afraid of this knowledge. Let it be your shield. Let it be the light that illuminates the shadows, empowering you to navigate the intricate labyrinth of human connection with discernment and self-preservation. Understanding this fundamental truth allows you to reclaim your emotional sovereignty, to protect your vulnerability, and to demand genuine reciprocity rather than merely accepting a well-orchestrated facade. For the only true power lies in seeing the world, and the intentions within it, exactly as they are, stripped bare of all comforting illusions. What is the most unsettling hidden face you've ever glimpsed in a relationship? And how did it change your perception forever? Share your thoughts below, for your voice is a vital part of this unfolding truth. Like this video if its revelations resonated with you, subscribe to PsychHer for more unvarnished insights, and join our community as we continue to unravel the profound mysteries of the human psyche. You've been watching PsychHer, where we expose the uncomfortable so you can live with the truth.